Hello and welcome to the CGC Show on AETV. AETV is the voice of higher education in Africa. The CGC Show is a career guidance and counseling show that seeks to highlight career opportunities available in various fields of study and also demystify the thoughts that some courses studied in our universities are not marketable. We are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. I am your host, Adjoa Omie. You can join in the conversation by following us on our social media handles at AE_TV on Twitter, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and at AETV Official on Instagram. Today we will be discussing pharmacy as a career path. My guests are here in the studio, so we'll be back after the break. Welcome back. If you just tuned in, you are watching the CGC Show on AETV, and today we will be discussing pharmacy as a career. I have two experienced pharmacists joining me in the studios today to discuss our topic, and they are in the persons of Mr. Andrew Annan and Miss Vanessa Asante. Thank you so much for making time to come on the show.
Thank you too for having us.
I know you both are pharmacists, but I would want you to introduce yourselves. Andrew, go first.
Say ladies first, but okay, I'll go first. Okay, I'm Andrew Annan. I'm a community pharmacist, and I've been practicing for about upwards of 3 years now. And yeah, that's the basics.
And Vanessa?
Yeah, I'm also Vanessa Asante. I'm also a pharmacist. I work with Pharma. It's a pharmaceutical distribution company.
Okay.
I'm there as the supply chain demand and supply planner. So basically, that's it about me.
So you are not pharmacists who work in the pharmacy? Like
Yes. I'm working in a different field, but it's also a pharmaceutical industry.
I see. We'll delve deeper into those branches. But I would want you to tell me what inspired you to choose pharmacy as a career path.
Okay, so this question. Initially I didn't want to do pharmacy actually. It was sort of a decision I took between two options I had at the time. I had the option of doing pharmacy and I think, was it biomedical engineering? I think so. And actually my elder brother influenced me greatly to choose pharmacy. And I think it was divinely influenced actually, because if you gave me any other course today, take me back, I would not choose any other course apart from pharmacy. It's a great course, and I'm happy. I thank God every day that I choose to do pharmacy, and I would do it again and again and again and again. Yes. Yes.
That's nice. What about you, Vanessa?
Yes. So for me personally, it was a straightforward decision for me. Growing up, I always wanted to do something medical related. Okay. So as I went through school, it was more clear to me that it's going to be pharmacy. So it was very straightforward for me. Yeah.
And how has the journey been for you?
Amazing. I would never take anything back. Like, this is it.
How are you dealing with COVID? You know, COVID in this, especially in your field. How are you making sure that you don't get the virus, you don't get infected, and your patients too also don't get infected?
Okay, for me in the pharmaceutical distribution company, we work on a virtual platform, so we are able to keep a level 2 opening in our office such that we maintain social distance protocol. So we have a minimum number of people coming to work at all times. So these are some of the things, the protocols we put in place to ensure that we are also safe. Yeah.
That's fine. What about you?
So I work community pharmacy, as I mentioned. So we have slightly different protocols, sorry. And so my pharmacy, we have a hand washing station outside. So it's an automated tap. You just come, there's soap, there's tissue. I noticed you have one outside your studio as well. Yeah, so just wash your hands before you enter. We have the temperature gun, the thermometer gun, sorry. We check the temperature, all the basic protocols, mask, social distancing. We don't allow too many people in the pharmacy at a time. We also have physical barriers between us, the staff, and the counter. Apart from that, basic sanitation, cleaning the pharmacy. I mean, those were things we were always doing before. But I mean, the added measures would probably be the enforcing the mask wearing and the hand washing. Yes, essentially. Apart from that, because of some of the tests we run in the pharmacy, we have to be mindful of the distance and barriers, and we emphasis on cleaning surfaces more often. Yeah, those are maybe the new things. Yeah, essentially we've done.
Okay, I know there are basically two different types of pharmacists. We have the normal pharmacist, and then the people that have the doctor, that do the doctor of pharmacy. Can you tell me the difference between the two?
Okay, so the doctor of pharmacy degree was it's pretty new. So I think it started actually with in the year I entered pharmacy school in the KNUST, that's Tech, and so my batch that went to Tech started the doctor of pharmacy degree, and it's a 6-year course as compared to the bachelor's I did. That's a 4-year course, and it's more focused on clinical pharmacy. That's more oriented towards hospital practice. Yeah, so that's the major difference. Yeah, so they have greater insight into things that happen in the hospital, practice in the hospital, how pharmacy work in the hospital as compared to working in the community or otherwise. Yes, although they also have the community practice and all the other areas of expertise that we do have. Yes.
Okay, Vanessa, take us through the process. How, probably from the basic level to secondary school, how, if somebody wants to become a pharmacist, what are the levels of education that a person will need to go through? And probably mention some of the courses that he or she will need to.
So I think it's pretty much the basic education. You get your BEC level, you get your WASI level in the SHS, but you need to do science, right? And after that, if you do really well, you can then apply for pharmacy in any of the universities. I think currently we have about 6 universities doing pharmacy now. We have Entrance Pharmaceuticals, we have KNUST, we have Central University, we have the University of Ghana, and I think a few other ones which I don't really remember on top of my head. And so when you are selected, you do your registration, you start your courses in level 100. If it's a B-Pharm course, you do a 4-year course. If it's a doctor of pharmacy course, you do a 6-year course. Yes, and I think in the first year we do like basically a lot of general things. I studied French in my first year, and I also studied computer in my first year. So I mean, when you get to the level 200, you begin to branch into more specific areas. Like you would do chemistry, you would do phytochemistry, and some very specialized courses.
You didn't mention pharmacology.
And pharmacology, of course. And in level, pharmacology comes in 3. We have pharmacology 1, pharmacology 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, and when you get to the 3rd year, it becomes more broader. You do medicinal chemistry, you do, some more difficult, or let me say tough courses, not difficult courses.
Like pharmacology is the most difficult.
Well, I wouldn't say it's difficult. I would say it's challenging because it's actually broad and you need to study a lot, so you end up putting in more time and energy into that course alone. So difficult, I wouldn't say, but challenging, yes, it was very challenging. I don't know for Andrew.
Personally, I enjoyed pharmacology.
He's obviously smart.
I was a teaching assistant in pharmacology. I found chemistry more, I'll say, challenging. Challenging.
I actually like chemistry, like compared to.
She's a smart one. But yeah, I think now there's no. I think every university is doing a doctor of pharmacy now. I don't think it's a bachelor of pharmacy degree now. I think starting this year, all the entrants are going to do a doctor of pharmacy degree. So it's a 6-year course on the go. Yes. So the courses are similar. You still do your phytochemistry, that's with the plants. You still do your pharmacology, still do your pharmacology, and your chemistry. Yes, all those courses are there. They are challenging courses, but once you put your mind to it, you dedicate time to it, you'll still through.
But what do you think influenced the universities to branch into the doctor of pharmacy thing? Because, so what of people that graduated with the bachelor's degree in pharmacy? What of those people? Were they also working in the pharmacies? Were they able to work in in the hospitals?
Yes. So they are Bachelor of Pharmacy. Currently in the hospitals, most of the people in there are Bachelor of Pharmacy degree holders.
Okay.
The Doctor of Pharmacy degree is currently, there's a top-up degree available. And however, it's not, there are people in the hospitals who have furthered and gotten PhDs in clinical pharmacy.
Okay.
Okay. Not everyone, I should say. However, it's for there. How should I put it? There's experience on the job that you get. So, for example, even after my Bachelor of Pharmacy degree, I did work in a hospital. It's a mandatory internship. So you develop certain key skills you need to work in a hospital. The Bachelor of Pharmacy degree is not inadequate in any sense of the word. The Doctor of Pharmacy degree, we call it PharmD. It's just equips you better straight out of the school. Okay, that's essential. It equips you better straight out of school to work in the hospital. So when you come out of your 6 years of practice, you can go straight in and you have a better grasp of what hospital practice is like. It doesn't make the Bachelor of Pharmacy degree inadequate. It's just a better standard or a better measure to come out of school with. So in the United States, the standard is the PharmD, that's the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. But you still have people coming out with the PharmD, working in community pharmacies, working in research, working as medical representatives. Okay, so it's just a minimum requirement. It's not seen as a higher degree per se.
Okay, that's cool. But you are a community pharmacist, and you are also
industrial.
You are into industry.
Yes.
But we all know that pharmacists sell drugs. That is what a lot of us know. Kindly tell us, Vanessa, can you tell us what really pharmacists do?
All right, so when we talk about pharmacists and the role of pharmacists, we are looking at a professional in medicine, someone who is professionally trained to dispense medicine, and not just the medicine, but also dispense information with regards to the medicines to clients. And even going further, we are looking at a professional who takes care of patients. So this is like a role of following up on patients and following up on their diseases, how it is progressing, if there is a need to change their medication. You know, sometimes when you go to the hospital, so you have pharmacists going on ward rounds, trying to advise the doctors or the medical practitioners on better regimens to use for cases that are, you know, changing as time progresses. So pharmacists are not just drug sellers, but we are more, you know, informed on the drugs to help other people also understand how to use the medicines. Yeah.
You mentioned dispensing. I also know of Dispensing Technologies. So if the pharmacist is into dispensing drugs, what do the Dispensing Technologies do?
Well, the Dispensing Technologies also dispense drugs, but they do not have let me say professional knowledge or in-depth understanding about the medications, because when you look at their course contents, what they study in school is not like what the pharmacists also study in school. So like there's a gap in knowledge, right? So so when it comes to the dispensing technician and the pharmacist, it's not on the same level, but definitely they have things that they would bring on board, which is going to be very useful in the practice. Yeah.
I was discussing with you outside before we came on set, and you were telling me the kind of industries that we have in pharmacy. So it's not just about you going to read pharmacy and coming to work in the pharmacy. There are other places that you can fit into. Can you go over some of the industries of pharmacy?
Okay, so like my colleague Vanessa here, she's into industry, so distribution. So there's the logistics side of pharmacy. Apart from that, there's where I am, that's community pharmacy, which I love so much. And then there's so we have research pharmacy. Research pharmacy is not so popular in Ghana. However, there's research pharmacy. So right now we're in the midst of a pandemic. Research pharmacists are looking for solutions for vaccines, companies are coming out with vaccines. I don't know if you've heard of maybe Pfizer coming out with a vaccine. Yeah, so Pfizer is a pharmaceutical company. So there are pharmacists that work for Pfizer looking for drugs or vaccines to solve this pandemic problem. Apart from that, we have, that's research pharmacy. Then we have industry. Okay, so industry is like, okay, so we have Kena Pharma. So they produce a lot of drugs. We have NS chemists. We have a myriad of industries. These industries produce some of, when this pandemic started, produce some of these hand sanitizers, they produce some of these gloves. I mean, different items, yes, a myriad of items. Apart from that, we also have academia. I went to school, a pharmacist taught me. Okay, the current dean of the School of Pharmacy in Legon is a pharmacist. Yes. So there are pharmacists that branch into academia, so they teach pharmacy, like pharmacology and other subjects. Okay, so pharmacy is wide reach, and of course we have hospital pharmacy or clinical pharmacy, where the pharmacists optimize dosage regimens. When you say optimize dosage regimens, let me just break it down for us. So, okay, so let's say you are admitted in the hospital, you are admitted on the ward. We have to make sure that every drug you're given, not only is it right for you and for your condition, it's at the right dose, and at every point in time, it's safe for you and it's working. Yeah, you're not just taking a drug for taking it safe, it's working. And even after you are discharged, we have to make sure that everything, usually sometimes you're discharged with medicines, you know how to take these medicines. When you go home, the medicines you've taken are still working for you. Okay, and if there's any change in your situation, we know the drugs to give you, or the drugs that will be better for you. Because in our training, we are trained on the drugs, and our expertise lies in mainly the drugs. And I say mainly the drugs, not to exempt other aspects, because in order to know the drugs and how they affect you, we have to know the disease as well. So we are trained in like disease, indeed, how the disease presents and other things. Okay, but mainly the drugs. So we have to know how the drugs will affect you. If there's any change in your disease condition, we have to know how that will affect maybe the drug's effect on you, and if there's a better drug for you, that kind of thing.
Okay, I would want you to talk about the licensing. Probably you need to write exams, or you need license to operate as pharmacist, or even to open a pharmacy shop. But I'll make you do that after the break. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. In case you just tuned in, you are watching the CGC Show on AETV, and we have been discussing pharmacy as a career. Before we went on the break, I wanted you to, Vanessa, let me come to you, Vanessa. Okay. Kindly tell me some of the the licensing, how to get your license to operate as a pharmacist and all of that. Probably there are exams to write or anything.
Okay, so per the requirement, you're supposed to complete at least a Bachelor of Degree in Pharmacy. That's a 4-year course. And after that, you're supposed to do a 9-month clinical internship, and followed by a 3-month community internship. Then right after that, you can...
After your 4-year degree program,
exactly.
Then you do what?
You have to complete a 9-month clinical internship, followed by a 3-month community internship.
So it's not just finishing uni and working. Wow.
Yes. So once you have these requirements down, that is when you can now be qualified to take the licensure exams.
Okay.
So you would register with the Pharmacy Council after you have presented your reports on these 2 internships that you did. And when the date is out, I think the exams is in 2 days, right? And we have the oral exam, and then we have the written part.
Okay.
So during the oral exam, you meet a panel. They are going to test your knowledge on, pharmaceutical practice. Okay. And the following day, you come and take your written exam. which is basically in 3 sessions. The first session is the MCQs, that's the objectives, and then you do your optionals, and then you do the compulsory part. So basically, that is the whole thing. That's everything you need. And I think the results are announced like after 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So that's the moment of truth. That is where it gets really scary.
Yeah.
So once you pass through, then you have your license and you can now operate as a fully fledged pharmacist in Ghana. If you don't pass through, you would have to retake the examination again.
I see. Interesting. We were talking, and you mentioned that you wouldn't want us to call pharmacy shops. You know, we have 2 different types, the pharmacy shops and then the chemical shops. Kindly tell us the difference between the 2 and the requirements in opening either of them.
Okay, just to add on to what Vanessa said earlier on first, I think now the license exam is purely MCQs now. That's the new format now. I had the opportunity to teach the batch that just wrote, and
hey, you're smart.
Relax for me. And it's all MCQs now, and yeah, it's all MCQs now, and I mean most of them passed. Yeah, most of them passed. So we thank God for that. But yeah, so it's all MCQs now, and after you write the exam, you go and do you meet the panel. They ask you on current affairs and everything. Then the following year or so, you get inducted into the profession. Yes. So on the
pharmacy shop.
Pharmacy. it's not a shop.
Okay.
I don't like calling it a shop because calling it a shop implies that you come there and you pick what you want. But a pharmacy is a healthcare facility. So you come there for a care service. So when you walk into any pharmacy, it's important you explain whatever is wrong with you or whatever complaint you have. And I also want to establish the fact that pharmacies are like the most accessible healthcare facilities in Ghana. Not like they are. So it's very important. I feel like Ghanaians don't take advantage of that enough. If left to me alone, I'll be visiting pharmacies like every week just to ask things because it's free.
Okay.
Yeah. Just ask stuff because like it can prevent a lot of diseases and prevent a lot of illnesses if you just seek knowledge. Walk into the pharmacy, you're not charged anything. Just ask. I want to give birth to twins. What do you advise? Like, I feel like people don't really take advantage of a lot of these things. But yeah, so a pharmacy is a healthcare facility. So you can go in there, seek any knowledge you want on any drug, any condition, anything you want, okay, or any complaint you might have, okay, and you get a solution for it. Pharmacists are trained for that because you're not just trained in the drugs, but also trained in disease states. We can't give you a drug if we don't know what is wrong with you. So we have to have a fair idea of what is happening with you. And that's not to say that we know everything, no. Okay, so we're not experts at diagnosis, that's doctors. Okay, so in cases where we are not sure, that's when we refer. So you lose nothing by visiting a pharmacy. In comparing pharmacies with chemical shops or over-the-counter medicine shops, the main differences are in the types of drugs we are allowed or by law to stock, regulated to stock. Over-the-counter medicine sellers or chemical shops are allowed to sell only over-the-counter medicines. Over-the-counter medicines are like your paracetamol, your magnesium trisilicate, milk of magnesia, your vitamins, minerals,
blood tonics,
those things, yes. So those are one category of medicines. Then we have the pharmacist-only medicines. So pharmacist-only medicines would include, so even cetirizine. So I don't know if you've heard of Visine. It's for cold. Some antimalarials. We have certain antibiotics, not all antibiotics, certain antibiotics. Most of the antibiotics, but not all of them. So those are pharmacist-only. That's just a brief overview. Then we have the prescription-only drugs. Those are the ones the doctor has to prescribe. Okay, so that will be your injectables, your IVs, all the antibiotics, some of these painkillers. Painkillers are also pharmacist-only medicines. Some of them are under the over-the-counter drugs as well. So for over-the-counter medicine sellers, they can only sell over-the-counter medicines. Okay, and what you need to start up any of them for pharmacies, first of all, you have to have a pharmacist. You don't have to be a pharmacist to own one, but you have to have a pharmacist
Okay.
to register the premises, because you can't have a pharmacy without a pharmacist.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah. And the other requirements are, so the company has to be registered with the Registrar General. There are certain dimensions. It shouldn't be close to another pharmacy, and a lot of other things. I mean, it's too much to go into too much details.
Okay.
For over-the-counter medicine sellers, there's not a lot. A pharmacist can't open an over-the-counter medicine seller per the current regulations.
Okay.
Yes. There's a little conflict of interest there.
Okay.
So that's why
I wanted to find out
there's
why.
a little conflict of interest there, because, I mean, if you open a chemical shop, as you put it, you might be tempted to stock some of the things that they're not allowed to stock because you're a pharmacist.
Okay.
And you are the one going to be there. So it defeats the purpose.
Okay.
It's sort of like you're opening a shop to sell things that should be sold in a pharmacy.
Okay.
So there's a little conflict of interest there. Yeah. So those are the main differences in the requirements needed.
I know of other people who work in the pharmacy as medicine counter assistants. Can you tell me the difference between the pharmacist and the medicine counter assistants, Vanessa?
All right. So the medicine counter assistants, in short, MCAs, initially they were brought into the pharmacy business as helps to help take stock, to count drugs. Usually when you go to pharmacies early in the morning, they count their big tablets and then pack them in smaller sizes. Yeah, these guys were supposed to help the pharmacists to be doing these jobs. During stock counts, they were supposed to help the pharmacists to take stock of these items. So that is how they came up with the name medicine counter assistants.
Okay.
But over time, their role has evolved from, just counting medicines to, helping the pharmacists dispense like very minor ailments, drugs to minor ailments, and to even help clean the place. They help set up the pharmacy, arrange the drugs, clean the place, dust the place, and all those things. So the difference also shows in the course. They only take a 6-month course where they go through like very simple clinical cases like stomach pains, headaches.
How to treat.
Yeah, so in detail, they do not really have expert knowledge on drugs, but they are just meant to help the pharmacists, serve the clients better. Yeah.
Okay. The pharmacy field has a lot of people are now resorting to the traditional herbal medicines other than the normal processed drugs we have in the pharmacies. Hasn't it been a challenge for you guys as pharmacists in the industry?
I wouldn't say it's been a challenge per se. I mean, there have been some, should I say, quacks in the herbal medicine sector.
Yeah.
But if you are really looking at the orthodox medicine sector, it's a $1 billion industry. So it's everywhere. I think what's important is the regulation and how we approach it. So where you buy a medicine is very important. Okay, so we spoke about the pharmacy and the chemical shop. So if you know that a chemical shop, it's not mandated, or it's illegal for a chemical shop to sell you an antibiotic or an injectable, any drug that's meant to be injected, and they are selling it to you, there should be a red flag waving somewhere in your head. Okay, so I mean, if you are in a market or a church station and you see someone holding a tray of drugs, there should be nothing should move you to purchase from that person. Okay, there should be only few places to purchase drugs from to ensure that these drugs are of good quality. Okay, so with herbal medicines, we have good herbal medicines in the system. We actually sell herbal medicines in the pharmacy. And with the Ghana Health Service, the Ministry of Health now, you go to some of the major hospitals now, they actually have a herbal medicine department. Okay, so it's part of our health system. Okay, what's important is how we manage the fakes or the quacks. Okay, so apart from the regulators like Food and Drugs Authority doing their bit in clamping down on the quacks,
Okay.
as citizens we have to know where we get our medicines from to ensure that we're getting the right thing and we're not taking anything into our bodies. So if you need an antibiotic for any reason, or you have a problem, go to your pharmacy, go to your hospital for that. If it's just some paracetamol, it's just an over-the-counter medicine needed, and you have a chemical shop nearby, for sure, go there. But don't go to a place where you know they are not qualified to give you that treatment. Okay, because you might be getting something that's not right for you.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. And I know your industry is quite hectic, like in terms of knowledge and all of that. How do you keep up with the trends, probably new practices? How do you keep up? How do you update your knowledge on all of these things?
Yeah, so personally, I take advantage of this CPD's continuous professional development.
Okay.
It's usually organized for, pharmacists, and we have like big guys in the markets coming to, tell us about their drugs, some new innovations like Pfizer, Sanofi, Novartis. These guys comes and then they show us what they have done, and they educate us on it. So I usually take advantage of these platforms to upgrade my knowledge in pharmacy, and also I do reading on social media to to find out what's happening out there. Yeah.
Basically, tell me how the experience has been for both of you so far.
Well, for me, pharmacy has been like a life-changing experience for me, because right now I can't picture myself doing any other thing aside pharmacy. Like I can't really picture myself doing any other thing. Like, so this is it for me. Like I am very certain that this is it for me, and I am very thrilled to see what happens in the next coming years.
What about you?
Much like Vanessa, like I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I am very, very happy I chose to do pharmacy. In school, I made the greatest of friends. I had the greatest of times. I mean, a lot of people say that when you're doing pharmacy, or if you're doing any medical course, it's sort of like that's the only life you have. It's actually not like, okay, it wasn't like that for me. Let me put it down. It wasn't like that for me. I mean, I did a lot of things on the side, and I think I turned out well. And I mean, currently, apart from pharmacy, I have a health blog. I publish pharmacy news on. Can I mention it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I have a health blog on Instagram. It's called Apothecary Shots. And apothecary is an old word for a pharmacy who compounds drugs. Actually, I spell it for you.
Sure.
So APOTHECARY. SHOTS. So at Apothecary Shots on Instagram. So I post pharmacy news, health news. So if you want to stay updated on pharmacy things,
you can just follow me.
You learn a lot actually. You learn a lot. Yeah. So I post a lot over there. So when I learn, I share. It's very important. It's a way I help to like pass on knowledge as well. And with pharmacy profession in the direction it's heading in, I think it's important that more people are kept abreast with knowledge. Currently, social media is flooded with a lot of information. I think COVID, it showed us a lot of things. One thing is misinformation is deadly.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that with COVID. I mean, we thought COVID couldn't come to Ghana because it's hot. Yeah, so like, there's a lot of misinformation out there, so it's very important that everyone reads, everyone knows. And with social media these days, anyone can pick up and look at something. Someone has forwarded a message on WhatsApp. So yeah, it's important you know where you get information from. And as I said earlier, walking into a pharmacy is free.
It's free, yeah.
You can walk into a pharmacy anytime. Ghanaians don't take advantage of that, and I'll encourage more Ghanaians to take advantage of that.
I pray that they do have a change of mind after this episode.
Yes.
So I would want you to tell me some of the challenges that you've encountered since you started. You started working as a pharmacist. What are some of the challenges that you've identified in the industry, and what are some of the ways you think governing institutions can do to help you people?
Okay, one of the major challenges I've encountered is regulation is a bit problematic because how should I put it? The number of pharmacists in the country and number of people in the country are not commensurate. So, for example, in Greater Accra, we have a pharmacist population of about 4 pharmacists to about 10,000 people. Is that bad?
That's bad.
In Kumasi, it's about 1 to 10,000. Is that bad?
Very bad.
So these are the only 2 regions with 1 to 10,000. The
You
rest
don't have
of
a
the regions
lot
have
of
less than
pharmacists.
1.
Interesting.
Yes. So regulation is quite difficult, and you find that there's not a lot of pharmacies in other regions of the country. So in one of the problems that is dear to my heart is getting more pharmacists out there, because as I've mentioned earlier, pharmacies are one of the most accessible places or healthcare facilities in Ghana. And I feel like if you have a problem right now, the first place you go to is your community pharmacy.
Yeah.
So, but for a community to have a pharmacy, maybe you have to go to a hospital, join a long queue. It might be problematic. I mean, even during COVID, that's one of the things another thing we saw, that people are scared to go to hospitals, so more people came to the pharmacies, and it's something that we need to look at. More community pharmacy is something that has to be done for one, better health for our country. As we are on this industrialization drive, industrialization comes with its own problems, and people need to have knowledge. Free knowledge, it's on the internet, it's everywhere, but not everyone is willing to read. So with more community pharmacists, more people on the ground communicating with people, it's going to help. So that's one of the major challenges.
Vanessa, what about you?
Well, I also share in his sentiments, but I want to ask him a question. If we are sending you to Boko, are you going to go?
If you send me to Boko, I'm willing to go. The only what I'll say is should I say shortfall I find with that is, if I'm going to make the most impact in Boko, I will go.
Okay.
However, currently I find myself. So I did a short course recently in policy, and I find that you have to put yourself where you can have the most impact. Okay, so it's not about me going to Boko, it's about me being where I can have the most impact.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
it's not about, I don't have a problem going to Boko.
Yeah, so I asked this question because that's the first thing that, pharmacists think about when we think about like distribution across the country, like evenly. Because even though the ratio you gave was very bad, we know that we are concentrated in Greater Accra more than the other regions.
Yes.
So think about doing an even distribution. So if they come to me, or maybe let's say council comes to me and say, oh, Vanessa, we want you to go to this place to I mean, it's going to be very challenging for me personally because so that was why I asked you that question, because you are a guy, it will be very easy for you to relocate, but for me, I don't think I'll put myself in that position. So, well, that's a good. But talking about challenges, I think for me, so working in the industry, one of the major challenges is shortage of drugs, right? Because
I get that a lot, but and I just don't understand it.
Yes, usually you see that people come up with very good drugs, and all of a sudden it just vanishes from the market. And we have clients coming and asking for these particular drugs. We can't get them for these clients, and it's very, very challenging because some clients are already depending on these drugs, especially these chronic medications. Like these people have to take it like every day, so maybe the end of their lives, and then we don't have it in the market. Like it's very challenging for me, and I'm just hoping that something can be done about this.
Hopefully, the government will put structures in place so that it will be better for you. Or what do you think the future holds for pharmacists? Where do you see the pharmacy field in the next 5 to 10 years?
Digital. That's simply put.
Okay.
I see pharmacy going. As about me, I would say more digital. More digital. Yeah, pharmacists increasingly getting digital, entering the digital space, so everything is going to be web-based. And I think in the next 5 years, you'll be in the comfort of your home, click on a button, then your
speaking to pharmacists online.
Yes,
okay.
I think that's the direction pharmacy in Ghana is heading currently. I think we are all growing comfortable in our homes. We don't like people anymore.
Exactly.
We don't like people anymore. Like, I don't want to see your face. I just want to call, have it delivered to my house. Yeah. So I think things are because of this pandemic, I think things are increasingly heading towards a digital space, and I think that's the direction things will be going in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's what I see for pharmacy.
Yeah. Same thing, digital, and I'm even trying to reposition myself to be able to benefit from that as well. So
Your final words to anybody that would want to do pharmacy, or anyone that's contemplating on choosing pharmacy. What are your final words to individuals like that?
I would say pharmacy is not a difficult course, but you have to be dedicated to it. So the WHO gives 7 characteristics of a good pharmacist. They say you have to be a leader, you have to be a manager, you have to be a caregiver, you have to be a good communicator, you have to be I said 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
I said 5. I think there were 2. Good communicator, caregiver. The last 2, I'm missing them.
That's fine.
But these are all things. A lifelong learner. And I think that's very important. Like, it's pharmacy can be you get the weirdest cases walking into your pharmacy. Someone walks in, the person presents the weirdest case. You don't even, you can't get to the head and bottom, but you have to be quick on your feet. You have to be able to learn. You have to be able to research and think through. And you're not an island on your own. You have to be able to consult others, put your heads together. So if you want to do pharmacy, you have to, it's a combination of things. It's not one thing. It's not about just you. It's about you being able to learn and you being able to communicate with others properly. And communication is not just in words as well. It's in being able to look at your face and understand what you're saying, not with your words, but with like just the way you're looking. Yeah. So it comprises a lot. So, and apart from everything too, there's a business aspect. Business aspect not just about selling drugs or anything, but being able to keep a business running, being able to generate revenue, and being able to meet patients' needs. So it comprises a lot, and it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. So you have to be dedicated to it.
You have to be dedicated. Yeah. Vanessa, you have anything to say?
Andy said almost everything. He has said everything, yes. So, I mean, you just need to have the mind space and make sure that as you're going in for it, you are going to see it to the end, because it could be very challenging along the way. So, yeah, just get some motivation going and to push you through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you so much for joining us today to discuss pharmacy as a career. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew Annan, and also Miss Vanessa Asante. And thank you too for tuning in. You have been watching the CGC Show on AATV. Don't forget, the show is proudly brought to you by the Association of African Universities. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any comments, you can just send them via our social media handles at AE_TV on Twitter, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and at AATV Official on Instagram. My name is Adjoa Omie, and I have been your host. I'll see you next time.